The year 2013 is often hailed as the golden year of gaming. It was a time that kept countless gamers glued to their screens with releases that reshaped the face of video games and redefined what it means to play. So many emotions, so many adventures, and so many hours of gameplay. It feels like it was just yesterday. But did you play all the classics from that year? Or better yet, do you know the games that truly made 2013 a legendary year for gaming? This is Jack speaking. And if you're new here, welcome to the Play Hunters channel, where I bring you daily content to keep you up to date with everything in the gaming universe. And if you could subscribe to help me grow, I'd really appreciate it, gamer to gamer. To kick off our list, we have what I consider the best Assassin's Creed of all time, Black Flag, which took the pirate experience to a whole new level. With a perfect blend of adventure and combat, this title unfolded in a vast open world where players could sail the Caribbean seas, board enemy ships, and uncover hidden treasures. The immersion was so deep that, as you played, you could almost feel the wind in your sails as you explored exotic islands. This game stood out among the best of 2013, delivering an unforgettable experience for any gaming enthusiast. Unlike many games of that era, the naval combat here wasn't just a side activity. It was a crucial part of the gameplay. With a variety of strategies at your disposal, you could choose to destroy enemies from a distance or get up close and board their ships. The freedom of choice and countless attack possibilities made this game a unique experience for those who love games that offered more than just the main story. The level of detail in the graphics also contributed to the immersion, making every sea battle feel like a true spectacle. But what really captivated players was the sense of freedom and exploration this title offered. You weren't confined to a linear path of missions. At any moment, you could choose to explore new areas, hunt for treasure, or simply relax while sailing. This combination of exploration and fluid combat made it one of the most memorable games of its generation, ensuring hours of fun for anyone who enjoyed diving into complex and immersive virtual worlds. Next up, we have Battlefield 4, one of the best first-person shooters that made its mark in 2013. This game delivered an incredibly intense multiplayer experience, with massive battles involving up to 64 players in dynamic environments. The adrenaline rush of participating in a match where everything could change in seconds was what made this title so addictive. You never knew when a building would collapse or when a storm would completely alter the battlefield dynamics, keeping players on their toes. What set this game apart was the interaction with the environment, which went far beyond static settings. Here, the environment was almost a character in its own right, shaping each player's strategy and possibilities. A collapsing bridge could isolate a team or create new attack routes. The destruction was so realistic that you could feel the tension of every explosion, making the game an immersive and visceral experience. For those who enjoyed games that combined frenetic action with strategy, this was an unbeatable choice. The progression system and weapon customization were also strong points, allowing each player to adjust their playstyle as they advanced. This meant that, whether you were a meticulous sniper or someone who preferred direct combat, there was always a way to play that suited your profile. The cutting-edge graphics and immersive sound contributed to creating one of the most realistic war settings ever seen in games, making each match a memorable experience. In third place, we have Beyond Two Souls, one of the most innovative and emotionally charged games I've ever played. This title stood out for its cinematic storytelling, offering an interactive experience that blended the best of video games with the power of captivating narratives. The plot followed a young woman's journey over 15 years, diving into deep issues like identity, destiny, and the supernatural. The game was especially appealing to those who appreciated a rich story, full of choices that impacted the course of events. The key difference here was how the player interacted with the story, not just through moral decisions, but also by controlling a spiritual entity that accompanied the protagonist. This unique mechanic added an extra layer of depth to the gameplay, allowing for actions that went far beyond the conventional. The emotional involvement of the player was inevitable, as the choices made throughout the game affected not only the plot, but also the character's development, creating a more personal connection with the narrative. Visually, The game was a spectacle, with graphics that stood out for their attention to detail and the characters' facial expressions. This, combined with a powerful soundtrack, gave each scene significant emotional weight. For those looking for an experience that transcended entertainment and approached interactive art, this was a game that deserved a spot on your favorites list. In fourth place on our list, we have BioShock Infinite. While it might be the least beloved game of the franchise, it was one of the most acclaimed games of 2013. This title stood out for its deep and engaging narrative, exploring themes like ideology, religion, and power as you traversed stunning settings and fought challenging enemies. The game's atmosphere was unique, blending a retro-futuristic aesthetic with a story that provoked intense reflection, something rare in the gaming world. What really made this game stand out was the use of the environment as an extension of the narrative. Every corner of the city revealed details about the society living there, from propaganda posters to casual conversations among citizens, immersing the player in a complex and fascinating world. The combat mechanics, which combined supernatural abilities with traditional weapons, also contributed to the experience, allowing for varied and creative approaches to overcoming challenges. Playing this title was like diving into a dystopian fable where every battle and decision mattered. The relationship between the main characters added an extra layer of emotional depth. For those looking for a game that combined intense action with a thought-provoking narrative, this title became an almost mandatory recommendation, being one of the most remarkable experiences for any gaming enthusiast. In fifth place, we have Splinter Cell Blacklist, a game that marked a return to the series' roots, combining stealth elements with intense action. This title brought back the feeling of being a highly trained spy, capable of infiltrating any location undetected. The gameplay allowed players to approach missions in various ways, whether by silently taking out enemies or using an arsenal of gadgets to outsmart them. This flexibility was one of the aspects that pleased both longtime fans and newcomers alike. The mark and execute system, where you could tag enemies and take them out quickly, was refined, offering a smooth and thrilling experience. Each mission demanded strategy and precision, and the level design encouraged players to think before acting. Additionally, new cooperative mechanics were introduced, allowing two players to work together on special missions, which added an extra layer of depth and replayability. These elements were crucial in making the game stand out at its release. Visually, the title impressed with detailed graphics and a tense atmosphere that kept players on edge. The diverse locations throughout the campaign, each with its own challenges, provided a varied and engaging experience. For those who enjoy espionage and strategy games, this was a must-play, solidifying its place as one of the best of its time. In sixth place, we have Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons, a game that captured players' hearts with its emotional narrative and innovative mechanics. This title offered a unique experience, allowing you to control two characters simultaneously, each with a different joystick. This simple yet ingenious mechanic was key to solving the puzzles and challenges that arose during the journey, creating a deep bond between the player and the story. The game's visuals, with their stylized art and breathtaking settings, contributed to the magical and melancholic atmosphere. Each environment was meticulously crafted to reflect the emotional state of the characters, leading the player to feel the tension, sadness, and hope that permeated the story. The simplicity of the controls allowed the narrative to flow uninterrupted, creating an immersive and engaging experience. The plot, focused on the journey of two brothers searching for a cure for their sick father, touched on universal themes like love, loss, and sacrifice. The absence of conventional dialogue, replaced by a fictional language, meant that the story was told through the characters' actions and interactions, something that resonated deeply with players. For those seeking a game that combines innovation with a powerful narrative, this title became a landmark in the industry. Next up is Fire Emblem Awakening, one of the titles that revitalized the series and won over a legion of new fans. This turn-based strategy game offered a perfect blend of engaging storytelling and challenging gameplay, where every decision could mean the difference between life and death for the characters. The combat system, which allowed you to manage and develop an army, brought a strategic depth that kept players engaged for hours. One of the most remarkable aspects of this title was the relationship mechanics between the characters. As they fought side by side, their bonds strengthened, directly influencing performance in battle. This dynamic created an emotional layer, as the loss of a character, if defeated, was permanent, significantly impacting the narrative and strategy of the game. Every battle became personal, heightening the tension and reward of victory. Visually, the game also impressed with fluid battle animations and captivating character design. The epic soundtrack perfectly accompanied the rhythm of the battles and the emotional moments of the story. For those who appreciate strategy games with a rich narrative and memorable characters, this game established itself as one of the best in the genre, offering a complete and satisfying experience for tactical RPG fans. In 8th place, we have The Last of Us, a game that redefined the action-adventure genre and is widely recognized as a narrative masterpiece. And it's undoubtedly one of the best games I've ever played, as it offered an intense and emotional story set in a post-apocalyptic world where players followed the survival journey of two characters in a landscape devastated by a pandemic. The emotional depth of the narrative and the complexity of the characters created an immersive experience that deeply resonated with players. The gameplay combined elements of action, stealth, and exploration, keeping players constantly on edge as they faced both human enemies and infected creatures. The scarcity of resources and the need to carefully plan each move added an extra layer of tension and realism to the game. Every encounter was a fight for survival, making the experience unique and challenging. Visually, the game was stunning, with detailed environments and a dark atmosphere that perfectly captured the sense of despair and struggle for life. The melancholic soundtrack complemented the narrative, elevating the emotional weight of key moments. For those seeking an experience that goes beyond simple entertainment, The Last of Us delivered a powerful and unforgettable story, solidifying its place as one of the best games of its generation. In 9th place, we have Forza Motorsport 5, a game that delivered an incredibly realistic and immersive racing experience. This title stood out for its focus on simulation, offering a wide array of meticulously recreated cars and tracks to provide an authentic driving sensation. The precision with which the vehicles responded to commands and the attention to detail made this game a benchmark in the racing simulation genre. One of the most praised aspects was the visual quality, which fully leveraged the capabilities of the next-generation consoles of the time. The graphics impressed with detailed textures, realistic lighting, and dynamic weather effects that directly influenced performance on the tracks. The combination of these elements created an immersive experience where every turn and every acceleration felt like you were in control of a real race car. Additionally, the title offered extensive vehicle customization, allowing players to fine-tune their cars to perfectly match their racing style. The online community was also a strong point, with constant challenges and competitions that kept players engaged for long periods. For racing game fans seeking an experience that balances realism with fun, this title established itself as a must-play. In 10th place, we have God of War, Ascension, which, while not the fans' favorite, is still an excellent game. Its story serves as a prequel to the previous titles, exploring the origins and vengeance journey of the protagonist. The gameplay retained the series' hallmark of intense action and brutal combat, but also introduced new mechanics that refreshed the experience for players. The combat system was enhanced with new weapons and abilities, allowing players to experiment with different fighting styles. The puzzles and environmental challenges also gained more complexity, requiring both skill and strategy to overcome. These elements ensured that the game stood out, offering a robust and varied experience that captured the essence of the series while bringing something new to the table. Visually, the title impressed with high-quality graphics and cinematic scenes that elevated the narrative. The setting, inspired by Greek mythology, remained one of the strong points, transporting players to a world filled with gods, monsters, and breathtaking landscapes. For fans of action and mythology, this addition to the series solidified itself as a memorable experience, offering both the familiarity and innovation that fans expected. Next, we have Gone Home, a game that revolutionized storytelling in video games. Released as an independent title, it stood out for its unique approach to the exploration and narrative genre, putting the player in the role of a young woman returning to her family home, only to find it empty and full of mysteries. The plot unfolded through environmental exploration and the discovery of clues, creating an immersive and deeply personal experience. What made this game stand out was the way it used the environment to tell a rich and emotional story, without the need for combat or traditional challenges. The house where the story took place was filled with objects and documents that revealed the secrets and lives of the family members, allowing the player to piece together the puzzle on their own. This minimalist and narrative-focused approach brought a new perspective on what video games could be. Visually, the title adopted a simple but effective style that contributed to the engaging and mysterious atmosphere. The soundtrack and sound effects helped create a sense of isolation and curiosity, keeping players engaged from start to finish. For those seeking a different experience focused on telling an intimate and emotional story, this was an unmissable recommendation. In 12th place, we have Metal Gear Rising, a title that brought a fresh perspective to the acclaimed series, focusing on frenetic action and fast-paced combat. Unlike the previous games, which were more centered on stealth, this title put players in control of a protagonist with superhuman abilities, capable of performing highly precise sword attacks. This shift in pace provided a unique and electrifying experience that won over action fans. The combat mechanics were the standout feature, with a cutting system that allowed players to slice through enemies and objects with impressive precision. This innovation not only offered a sense of power, but also introduced a strategic layer, where every strike needed to be calculated to maximize damage and control the situation. The speed and fluidity of the combat, combined with a pulsating soundtrack, created an intense and immersive atmosphere that kept players constantly engaged. Additionally, the visual design was marked by futuristic settings and imposing enemies, which complemented the narrative full of twists and complex themes, characteristic of the series. The combination of relentless action and an intriguing story made this title stand out as a unique experience within the franchise's universe. For those who appreciate stylized combat and an engaging plot, this was a memorable addition to the action game catalog. Continuing, we have GTA V, a game that redefined the concept of open-world gaming. This title offered a vast and detailed representation of a fictional city where players could freely explore and engage in a multitude of activities. The game stood out for its compelling narrative, following the lives of 3 protagonists, each with their own story and motivation, whose destinies intertwined in unpredictable ways. The gameplay was incredibly varied, allowing players to switch between different characters and play styles, from adrenaline-pumping heists to moments of exploration and relaxation in a vibrant open world. The richness of detail in the environment, combined with realistic physics and refined combat mechanics, created an experience that kept players constantly immersed, always offering something new to discover. Visually, the title impressed with cutting-edge graphics and meticulous attention to detail, from the bustling streets to the vast deserts and mountains. The soundtrack and sound design were also highlights, perfectly complementing the game's atmosphere and each of its scenes. For those who enjoy games that offer total freedom in a complex and immersive world, this experience solidified itself as one of the most impactful and enduring of the decade. In 14th place, we have Metro: Last Light, a game that plunged players into a post-apocalyptic world where survival depended on every decision made in an oppressive and dark environment. This title offered a blend of action and horror, leading players to explore the underground tunnels of a devastated city while facing mutants, human enemies, and the terrors of the darkness itself. The game's atmosphere was one of its greatest strengths, with a claustrophobic setting that perfectly captured the despair and struggle for survival. Combat required not only precision, but also careful management of scarce resources, like ammunition and air filters, which were vital for staying alive. Each encounter, whether with hostile creatures or other survivors, brought palpable tension, keeping the player constantly on edge. Additionally, the game excelled in world-building detail. The environments were carefully crafted, from the dark tunnels to the ravaged surface, creating a visual narrative that complemented the dense and nuanced story. As one of the best games released that year. In 15th place, we have Rayman Legends, a platformer that charmed players with its vibrant art and fluid gameplay. This title brought a colorful and energetic experience, combining precise gameplay with creative and challenging level design. Each stage was a work of art in itself, with dynamic environments that kept the player engaged at every moment. The variety of stages was one of the game's great attractions, ranging from rhythm-based levels to pure skill challenges. Cooperation was also encouraged, allowing up to 4 players to share the adventure, adding an extra layer of fun and competitiveness. The fluid animations and precise controls made every jump, run, and attack a satisfying experience, standing out in the platforming genre. Another highlight was the soundtrack, which perfectly complemented the frantic action of the levels, especially in the rhythmic stages, where the characters' movements synced with the music. The careful visual presentation, with detailed graphics and a unique artistic style, made the game stand out as a joyful and engaging experience for all ages. For platformer lovers, this was a memorable addition to the catalog of that era. Next, we have A Link Between Worlds, a game that revitalized one of the most beloved series in video game history. This title brought back the exploration and combat in an open world that fans loved, but with a new mechanic that allowed the player to transform into a painting to traverse walls. This innovation added a new dimension to the series' traditional puzzles, offering fresh and stimulating challenges. The game's world was vast and filled with secrets to discover, encouraging exploration in every corner. Freedom of choice was a central point, allowing players to decide the order in which to tackle the dungeons, giving a sense of customization and control rarely seen in the franchise until then. This freedom, combined with the unique movement mechanic, resulted in an experience that stayed true to the series' roots while bringing something completely new. The artistic design was charming, with graphics that respected the classic style, but with a modern touch that pleased both veterans and new players. The soundtrack, with its nostalgic melodies and new compositions, perfectly captured the essence of the adventure and complemented the gaming experience masterfully. For fans of epic journeys and engaging puzzles, this title stood out as one of the best of its generation. In 17th place, we have Tomb Raider, a game that revitalized one of the most iconic characters in video games, offering a new perspective on her origins. This title focused on a young and inexperienced adventurer, presenting an intense survival story and a maturation process that captivated players. The narrative combined action and exploration with moments of great tension, creating a dynamic and engaging experience. The gameplay was marked by a mix of combat, puzzle solving, and exploration of hostile environments, where every resource found could be the key to survival. The progression system allowed the player to upgrade their skills and equipment, which brought a sense of continuous evolution and overcoming challenges. The feeling of isolation and the struggle for survival were central elements that made this game a memorable experience. The game's visual presentation was one of the highlights, with beautiful and detailed settings that captured both the beauty and hostility of the surrounding world. The intense soundtrack and realistic sound effects contributed to creating an immersive atmosphere that kept the player on the edge of their seat in many moments. For fans of epic adventures and stories of overcoming challenges, this title established itself as a milestone in the franchise and one of the most impactful games of the year. Next, we have Devil May Cry, a title that brought a fresh vision to the iconic action series. This reboot introduced a reimagined protagonist and a dark and twisted world filled with grotesque enemies and mind-bending settings. The game stood out for its agile and stylized gameplay, with fast-paced combat and combos that rewarded the player's skill and creativity, maintaining the essence that made the series famous. The combat system was the main attraction, allowing smooth transitions between different weapons and fighting styles, encouraging the player to experiment and perfect their skills. The enemies varied in design and behavior, requiring different approaches and strategies to defeat, which kept the action fresh and challenging throughout the game. This combination of dynamic combat and exploration in surreal environments made the game stand out in the action genre. What truly set this title apart from the rest of the saga was its more mature and bold narrative and stylistic approach. Unlike the previous games, which followed a more exaggerated and comedic tone, this reboot adopted a more serious and dark tone, with a story that explored themes of identity and rebellion. The reimagining of the protagonist, with a renewed look and personality, also divided opinions. But it was this courage to distance itself from the original that made the game stand out as a unique and impactful version within the franchise. And I really want to know, which of these games have you played? And which ones hold a special place in your heart? This year was truly remarkable for the gaming world, and each of these games brought something unique to the market. But did we miss any titles on the list? I want to hear your opinion. Leave your comment below and share which games you believe also deserve to be among the best. And don't forget to subscribe to the Play Hunters channel and turn on notifications. That way, you'll keep discovering new games, revisit unforgettable classics, and never miss any upcoming releases. I'm leaving a video in the card featuring older games that still hold their own or even surpass many recent releases. Just click to watch. A big hug and see you tomorrow.